We do get a lot of Superman in this perspective, and I think the moments we do get with Clark really hit hard.
Let's talk Lex Luthor. My issue is how Lex was written. He has a wonderful monologue at the end about envy. This is perfect Lex.
Yeah.
The problem is that he delivers this line right at the very end of the movie.
We've been very vocal on this podcast, on our show, that we love being dropped in because we just are immersed. We're there, we're trying to figure things out.
But I think it might be to a fault here. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Real Chums. We're chatting about movies, feels like hanging out with friends. I'm your host, Marcel, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Danny.
This week, we're discussing Superman, directed and written by James Gunn, starring David Cornsweet, Richard Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, and many more.
We're taking a slight detour from our planned theme month to discuss Superman that just came out, but we will be back next week to discuss Armageddon as we kick off our natural disaster theme. But before we roll the intro, just a reminder, if you enjoy what we do and want to support us, head over to realchums.com. That's REELCHUMS.com, where you can donate $5 to help us keep the lights on or get us a Red Bull. Both keep the show going.
That's right. So thank you to everyone who has donated so we can keep the lights on or get a Red Bull. You can also join in on the conversation by heading over to YouTube and smashing that subscribe button. You'll get trailer reactions, movie and TV show reviews, and other thoughts on some hot movie news. So with that being said,
let's roll that intro.
All right, Marcel, we are back. And boy, am I I'm so pumped to be talking about Superman.
Yes, as am I. Look, this was my most anticipated movie of the year.
Yes.
If you're new to the podcast, every year we host a best and worst of the previous year, and then we talk about our most anticipated shows and TV shows and movies. And mine was Superman. I think
Correct.
The most, and we put that up to vote for our listeners,
Yeah.
and I think our listeners voted for Wicked Part 2
Wicked.
as their most.
Yes.
Yeah. As their most anticipated. So it's kind of wild, but I mean, it's awesome. Just the anticipation that this movie has been getting the last month and a half. And it's I'm excited to talk about.
So here's one of those things where I think that they did a really good job of building up anticipation excitement, because I was excited for this movie and I was trying to taper my expectations, but as I saw more and more of the things that they were trying to release, it got me more and more excited just to go see this film. So, but here's the question of the day: trunks or no trunks?
Great question. I am a no trunks kind of guy. That sounded gross. I don't like I prefer no trunks on Superman.
Marcel's going commando or day.
My thing is I understand why the character was given trunks, why all superheroes back in the 30s and 40s were given trunks. I get it, to resemble the strong man of the day. Understand. But it just seems impractical. It's goofy, and James Gunn went for it because of David Cornsweet's suggestion.
Yeah, did you hear that clip?
Yeah, I saw that James Gunn was going back and forth between wanted trunks or not, or no trunks. He even consulted with Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder was like, "Dude, I tried as well. I just couldn't figure it out." And it's hinted, at least James Gunn hinted, that they were probably going to go with no trunks. But then David Cornsweet was like, he's this alien with so much power that maybe by putting underwear outside of him, it makes him a bit more goofy and
I don't that's
more approachable.
The thing that it was it made him less intimidating to the younger kid sort of perspective of this whoa, this when you think of, I saw some conversation on threads of Homelander versus Superman, or just when you look at some of the other Supermans, all those who don't have trunks, right? Those are they're stronger, more adult focused stuff, right? And you think back at my Superman comics of DC Comics, of DC Animation and Superman. I'm pretty sure they had trunks on him too.
On the animated
animated one, right? Yeah.
It was. We got no trunks until the New 52.
Correct.
Early 2010s. Yeah.
So all of, in that perspective, I actually, because I was torn. I was I think I don't like the trunks. And watching the film, I wasn't distracted by the trunks. I was just it's just Superman. I was. Yeah. It wasn't I was oh, dude, this guy freaking, why they have to bring the trunks back? Honestly, to some degree, I think there is that level of that Cornsweet's perspective. It just showed, again, I think his a passion for the character.
Yeah,
which I think is great.
No, I agree. The Trunks doesn't like distract from the storytelling, and I think last year when we got like the first look of the character, I was like, I'm more interested to see like how it looks on screen, in movement, in action.
Yeah,
and it's fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if down the road
they
like on
do
the
a
sequel,
switch.
yeah, they do a switch. Like
I don't disagree. Like, as a more mature Superman, people know him more. XYZ, they trust him. I can totally see that. Well, bro, I'm pumped to just go through this film. If you did check out if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, thank you so much to those who are. But if you haven't checked it out, Marcel did write up a review for this film. Check it out after this thing. Really, in this one, we are going to be talking about spoilers. So if you are someone who doesn't want to be dealing with spoilers, go check out that review. And then once you watch the film, come back and listen to our discussion. But other than that, I think we're going to hop right into it. I mean, we don't need to go through this thing, but who do you want to start with? Where do you want to start with this? I know we're going to start with characters, but what character do you want to start with first?
I want to talk about Lois Lane, because I think Rachel Brosnahan was really good in this movie. I think she brings such a, like, she's still intelligent, wants and is driven to tell the best journalistic story to whatever the topic may be, right? Which is a key element and attribute of Lois Lane. But I love how we get this like layered individual that has insecurities. Like, yes, she's strong and confident and and smart, but like that doesn't take away that she has some insecurities about how she is constantly doubting people because of her journalistic desire to find the truth. And that, but also her past. Also her past, and how that like lays over into like her relationships. And I just think that is such a fun, different take that we haven't had for Lois Lane, that just layers that character. And I think it pays off to see kind of more of that, like, because again, like we start off with them already dating. There is no need for us to see Lois try to figure out who is this Clark, who is Superman, or any of that. Like, they're already dating, and we're catapulted into figuring out how that dynamic, that relationship works. And by making her a little bit insecure in like who she is, but also like doubting how she has relationships with individuals, romantic relationships, I think is such a touch of genius that really made me love Lois Lane so much more.
Yeah, so as I've been thinking about this film, and as so the clips that we saw initially, and as we see her character play out throughout the film, having her journalistic trait kind of like carry her through this, but also having that relationship right away, I think brings just really great juxtaposition on both ends, from Clark's perspective and Lois's perspective. So we have Lois being the strong, like you said, strong, confident, charismatic journalist who is looking for the truths, the facts, and be able to provide the clarity that the readers need and the public needs, right? And then Clark being, getting scoops because he's Superman, and and her driving at him for, did you think about that quote while you were, like them having that banter of like, she's still not quite ready for her, for him. Like, he's still learning his journalistic chops, right? And part of it, he, like, I love that even though we don't get much of that like Clark Kent stuff, like of the journal, we get it a little bit, that he's still new, he's still green, he's getting wins because he is highlighting Superman, and that's what's gonna lead, right? But then on the flip side, we have Clark Kent being Clark as a strong emotionally, right? He's strong emotionally. He's got a core understanding of foundation of like what people mean to him, what emotional things there. Whereas Lois is a little bit more blocked off. She's a little bit more caged in that realm of like how much, she likes Clark. They're attracted to each other physically. They've been dating for a couple months, but like her being in, like, I think the fact that she comes in kind of nervous to hear somebody cooking or doing something, and comes in with a bat, and ready to beat somebody, and seeing Clark and that being something surprising, where Clark was, like, maybe would have expected something from Lois, or what, and did you forget that it's 3 months ago we started dating, blah blah blah. Right. Like, that's the kind of stuff that like I love there, because then we get that the tight, the wonderful just sequence of just dialogue and tension of the interview that we got a snippet on in the trailer. But I think I really appreciate us spending, I mean, that whole sequence, like 7 minutes.
Oh, and it's wonderful. I love that because we've just seen Superman, right, like lose against the hammer of Baravia. So our first introduction is him losing a battle, Lex winning. And then we go into the Daily Planet for a bit, and then they have that little banter back and forth. And then we see them go right into this interview. And I just love the dynamic of Superman, Clark Kent, wanting to express that what he is doing, as he says, like, I'm not representing anyone, I'm just representing myself. I have a desire to do good. People were going to die, right? And I talk about this in my review about this righteous anger. Like, he is so passionate about protecting and saving people that he doesn't have time, rightfully so, to stand around and wait to get the go ahead from the US government. Like, he's going to take action. But I love how we go like off the record and on the record during that moment, because he is like, he's also like calling her out, and like, that they're like, Boravia is obviously dealing and stuff, and she's like, yeah, most likely, but am I certain? No, like, we can't make those assumptions. And something that's a great Lois Lane will always keep Superman grounded, pun intended. No, but like she always Superman, because he is this super powered, most powerful hero, metahuman, so to speak, out there. He needs to be brought back down, and that's through the relationships that he has, specifically with Lois Lane, right? If she can help keep him grounded and be aware of like what his surroundings are, both physically and metaphorically, but like, it's her role has always been that. And I think here we see that dynamic, because she is calling out his actions as a journalist, questioning some of his actions, and it's a moment for Superman to be challenged, to have his ideals be challenged by someone who he loves and cares about. And I just think it's a wonderful introduction to their relationship as well, not just to like the characters individually, but like to their relationship. I just I'm upset that they showed us so much of it in the trailer.
This is something I wanted to. I think throughout this whole film, I'm sad that that James Gunn had to show so much in marketing material and trailers in order for us to be able to get pumped and excited, and into the theaters. Because and it's like, it's not his fault. It's the game that he had to play in order to go for there. It just sucks from a movie lover and a Superman lover perspective, because there's so many moments in this film that I wish I would have been able to have for the first time.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe we'll touch a little bit on the marketing aspect of it all, but yeah, I do feel like they showed way too much.
I will say this: there's a couple of things that I wanted to wrap up with Lois. Is that, one, I do wish that there was a little extra journalism towards that little middle half to the end. Like, I do like that she goes to the Justice Gang and she ends up teaming up with Mr. Terrific, and that was a great sequence. But I do think that it would have been nice to have a little bit more additional journalistic moments in those elements of her maybe grabbing some, snapping some pictures, or even just like trying to seeing something and be able to like take it with her, even if it's just an act, like a show of action of her like realizing she's in an area or whatever that she needs to like highlight for later on into the perspective. But I know it's not like, it's those just like small things that I wish and I hope, like, they were doing a lot in this film, and I think that they did it well. These are just like some wishes, nitpicks that I wish could go from there. I will say the emotional perspective, I do think did really well, as Superman is broken, emotionally shattered due to his parents' video being fully released. We'll talk about that in a second. But when he comes back and they have the big weird orb thingy, and he's in his apartment looking for crypto, and they have this moment, and he says he loves her, and she leaves, and she's like unsure about the whole situation. Right later on, saying "I love you too," and it was great. But I do think that there's this level of like you said, that I think that the not only as actors as Rachel and David, but as Clark and Lois, that they ground each other, and I think it's great. I think the chemistry is truly something that I've been like. You said in your review that we haven't had as much romance, and I think I just love it. Lois and Clark have always been there, and I think I'm so happy that we're not having to do like the like start stumbling stuff. We're there, and we can have more impactful moments because we're gonna have highs and lows that they're gonna try to resolve, and I think that's gonna bring more better stuff overall.
Yeah, no, I agreed. I do to your point, I do wish we had more like investigative journalism from her part. And I think again, because we had so many characters with like the Daily Planet, they gave the journalist investigation to Jimmy, which is fine, but like I wanted Lois to have done that, which kind of sucks also because like Jimmy's the one that like finds all the information and then shows it to Lois, and then Lois is the one that like writes out the paper and then the article and then publishes it under her name, and it's like, yeah, but Jimmy did all the work. Not cool.
I think there's a little bit of I don't know exactly what happens there. It's not. Do you want to talk about? Let's talk about Jimmy real fast. I really liked Skylar Gizonado. He's okay. I do think it's fun that instead of making him kind of like a goof, that he's kind of like the like oddball Hawkeye. That all the staffers like are like riffing, and that he is there. But like you said, I was a little sad that like he's getting like in this scenario, he's getting the harder investigative pieces. Maybe he like normally he's the photographer. So I don't know how they're going to play this. I don't know if they're going to do something unique with this crew. We know that all the actors are going to be playing their characters both in animation and on screen. So there's a lot of flexibility that James Gunn, because of making that decision, can do a lot in animation stuff that Marvel won't do.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be interesting to play out.
Yeah, I think the issue here, and maybe not an issue, I think, and I will just really quickly going back to Lois Lane. Lois Lane here was not a damsel in distress, right? She was proactive, going to look for Clark when he was caught, helping Mr. Terrific, and so she then takes him back to his farm. So she's constantly in this proactive state, and I think by doing that, it takes away from her doing the investigating, which then gave the opportunity for the character of Jimmy Olsen to do that. So I think it's hard to like juggle that. I think I appreciate the fact that she was not a damsel in distress. Like, great. Like, this is one of the first times where Superman did not have to go and save Lois because she got herself in a weird situation, right? Rather, she was out helping him and saving him. But yeah, I think having done that, doing that story arc for Lois then gave the opportunity for Jimmy to then do more of the investigative aspect of it all, which is fine. I don't know what they're going to do. I know James half jokingly said, "Oh yeah, maybe we'll do like a spin-off on Jimmy Olsen," which sure, I guess. I am curious. I do feel like they could have like, we didn't need Cat Grant. We didn't need
we definitely did.
Right? Like, they're great to have there. And we'll talk a little bit about this in the world building aspect of it all. But like, these are characters that just, because you give us Jimmy Olsen and you're introducing Cat Grant and others, and I'm like, okay, like what more are they going to do? And they don't, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see how more they leverage these characters, but I do think they need to like scale them down or give them full things to do.
Correct.
In the next story.
All right, let's talk about Superman, Clark. All right,
dude, David Corenswet just is incredible.
Dude, he locked in. He's locked in on. He has this nice balance between the OG, the one I grew up. My mom loved that Superman. Like I remember the first time my mom brought it up. She's like, "I love this movie. Christopher's amazing." That sort of thing. Watching it with a little bit more of the like, not quite the full broodiness of Cavill's, Snyder Superman, or like not broodiness. He wasn't broody, just like majesticness. Stoic. There you go. That's the word. The stoicness. They thread the needle really well. I also really, 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 really appreciate that James Gunn wrote Superman as still coming into his powers. And I think that everybody who has done Superman has always done Superman as Superman that we see throughout comics or in some of the animation stuff. And to a degree, I understand, like, it's like, because that's where you see Superman as like the heroic figure. But throughout the comics, he does develop. He is the most powerful human, but he's always getting stronger, and he's always like finding new limits. And going from there. And I really think that it really added to the character for him to grow in this, but also to kind of set to like put the bar in a spot that as he progresses throughout the films, we can see better progress. And I think, or even like bigger things. It's not starting off right at the back with like Zod and they're freaking destroying half the country, the world.
No, you're right. I think he brings such a compassion to the character, right? Something as simple as him knowing Molly's name, like the food stand guy. Like,
yeah,
he knows his name. He remembers him from that one time he gave him
a hot dog,
falafel, right?
a falafel. Yeah.
And so, like, it's just like something as simple as that. Like, like there's a kindness to him, and when he is passionate about something, yes, he might be a bit not harsh, but maybe like just a bit hot-headed when he's passionate about something, and that's okay for us to see Clark and Superman like this, because again, the big theme at this is that he is human. Like, he has the human qualities of him, and how he has concerns, insecurities, struggles, just like any other human on this planet. And so I love the idea of him being a little bit brash in that aspect, but he has that, again, that righteous anger, so to speak. But there's the humanity aspect to it all. And I think he 3 years into his career, so to speak, I think it's such a great time because he's still fairly new. He's still learning things. I love the opening sequence of them telling us, like, 300 years ago for metahumans, right? 3 minutes ago, Superman lost his first battle.
Yeah.
And like, that just tells me everything about this character, is that, oh, he is going to screw up. Like, I don't even need to see the battle. Like, already I know he is figuring things out. Like, he's lost here. And I want to limit myself of comparing this to like Man of Steel, but like,
Yeah.
a lot of the things with Man of Steel was like, yes, this was his first battle, so he did mess up. And it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, he destroyed half the city, probably more than that. But here, he's been successful, so to speak. He's won all of his battles until now. We don't see that battle. We just see him crash, beating.
Exactly.
And immediately I can say, dude, I know what it feels like to be defeated. I know what it feels like to lose, right? And it makes him so much, immediately I can relate to this character that has been very hard to adapt on screen in the past, right? By humanizing him in a moment of defeat. I think it's wonderful.
Well, here's one of those things, like, I think it's relatable. Like, who, as you're in your career, you start out, you're like, you're learning, you're doing pretty good, and then you mess up, right? And you'll remember that first mess up. Yeah. Right? You always remember your first, the thing that happens that make you question, like, am I doing the right thing? Can I do this? Right? And I think that's just, again, re-emphasizing the fact that, like, understanding what is hope, what is it that you're choosing, your understanding of what is it that you're going to choose to do, right? And Superman's always been on that side, right? And I think I know everyone's chooses Superman, but a lot of times they don't read the comics, and sometimes they just choose him because he's Big Blue, and he's, that red, yellow, and blue color palette is just so strong, and such a power color perspective. I mean, that's throughout the whole film. It's like they on a segmentography, like, costume and like coloring effect throughout the whole film is based on those three colors. And on top of that, like, I just, but that humanness, that hopeful, that choice of making, I'm going to always choose to do what is going to be that righteous justice, the righteous anger. That's what's, I want to do what's good because it's good, not just because someone told me that that's the line.
Yeah.
And I think that they've done a really good job at presenting that. Look, I think, David, as Superman, we do get a lot of Superman in this perspective. And honestly, on my end, I actually really appreciate it. Not that I do want Clark, moments of Clark, and I think the moments we do get with Clark really hit hard in this film. Would I have liked a little bit more, or maybe not so much Clark, but maybe more of like working Clark? Yeah, maybe I would have liked a little bit, but honestly, I think that's okay because we're trying to get a perspective of where we're at with Superman and his role in this world, and I think that's why it's important here.
Yeah, I think it's also very, I think that like, kudos to James Gunn for being able to say, I'm going to spend most of the movie focusing on Superman,
Right.
and writing to Superman, a little less to Clark, but more to Superman. especially because, again, this character has been so hard to adapt. How do you make a whole movie about this super powered individual? And like, he really leaned into that and committed to it, and I think it was done wonderful. No, I'm okay with spending more time on Superman than Clark. Let's talk Lex Luthor.
Okay.
Because this was your favorite. This is your, like, you praised this character so
I
much.
really liked it. I don't know if it's as good as what my initial feelings, but I do think it's a very strong performance. I don't fully agree with you on. So in your review, you say that you feel like, what'd you say? Let me see if I can remember. That like his motives are not quite clear enough for you to care about Lex. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially, I just felt like I couldn't buy in to my villain early enough. So I saw this twice already. You saw it twice, yeah? Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it here in like a couple hours.
So you've seen it once?
I've only seen it once.
Okay, and you're
gonna see it again here.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I think after watching it a second time, I feel it isn't so much Lex. My issue is how Lex was written. And he has a wonderful monologue at the end about envy, right? And that's what like drives him. He talks about like how he says, I think I wrote a part of it down in my last viewing. He says, I am aware envy consumes my every waking moment. I know when they mention Galileo or Einstein or one of these other twits in the same breath as me, I feel a tight vomit burn in the back of my throat, right? But then he goes on saying, my envy is a calling. It is the sole hope for humanity because it is what has driven me to annihilating you. And so like he has this envy, right? He's upset about Superman. He says like was catapulted to this planet just to have the whole world fawn over him, right? Because he says because his strength illuminates how weak we really are. This is perfect Lex. Yeah. The problem is that he delivers this line right at the very end of the movie, right? And so I don't like that. I want to understand my antagonist. I want to understand why he's going after Superman, after our protagonist. Like, I don't want him to just be one dimensional and say, oh, he's bad just because he's bad. But then at the very end, it's like, oh no, here's his motives. I think that's the issue that I have. Nicholas Hoult delivers every line and performance and even every teardrop beautifully. Okay? Yeah. I love this aspect of Lex, but I wanted to be bought into his motives a lot earlier. And I have some issues with like the world building that we'll get to maybe right after this, but like I think this is one of the major flaws, in my opinion, of the movie. I just don't like that we waited so long to give me his motivations.
I think as I've been trying to think about like why is it I feel like so strongly is that look, I understand your desire to want to understand the antagonist, right? But at the end of the day, we know who Superman's antagonist, who his nemesis is. It's Lex, right? And I think when we see the line that says he just lost his first battle, and we see him crash and get reset and heads back into the fight, and then we realize we get this show that Lex is just putting on a show for his little minions, and the fact that we have minions in this film for a supervillain is just I love it. I love it so much.
So do I.
So like we don't have that, and honestly, Lex often doesn't. I mean, he has something, but the fact that he has it in this realm, in this version, in this moment, I think to me just showcases one, he has been watching this man relentlessly. Why? He to some degree he's thought through, and you can only know of what someone's gonna do when you've become obsessed with that person, and the fact that he's fighting him to prove a point that he isn't the best shows to me that he's the one that wants to be the best. I am not seeing this as like they're making a statement with that opening sequence.
Yes.
Right? Superman just lost his first battle. We then find out that he lost his first battle to Lex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah. So to me, I'm like, okay, Lex is trying to prove a point that he's better than Superman. Right? And it's always been that way in that perspective. Now, I think that we could have had a little bit more of a moment when he gets brought into Superman to help to your point. I think there could have been a little bit extra writing there, especially as he's bringing them, and before he does the whole Russian roulette, right, with the one guy, right? I think that moment, if you're gonna to maybe solidify some of the hatred and the understanding for Superman and for us as viewers, that should have been the moment. Or like when he puts him into the box, right? We don't get that. I just think that like I was committed from the beginning as the statement and understanding that like this is where it's at. Could they have been better? Probably. Am I still gonna think it's fantastic? I am.
No, and that's absolutely fine. I really, yes, I know Lex. I know he doesn't like Superman.
Yeah.
I get that, but I think maybe that Russian roulette moment, which was brutal for various reasons, I think it would have been perfect for Lex to maybe monologue there and tell us like his motives. And I love that scene because look, and again, I'm just gonna do one last comparison to Man of Steel. In Man of Steel, Superman is put in a position where the most despicable thing could happen, right? Like if he doesn't snap Zod's neck, a family's gonna die, right? And so he's cornered into a very hard position. Here, Superman is once again put in a very hard position, but he literally can do nothing about it, and there is consequences. Molly dies, right? I'm not saying the family in Man of Steel should have died.
No, right.
But it shows again that there are things that are going to be out of Superman's control.
Yeah.
And this is one of those moments, right? And it's all, again, you're grounding your character, and humanizing him. But I would have loved for Lex's motives to kind of go there. It's a wonderful moment. It's just the two of them engaging and interacting. It would have been perfect for me to buy into it. But I love Nicholas Hoult. I love the performance. I do love the motivations. I just wish we were given them earlier. I think that's my biggest thing here.
Me just speaking out that fact, I was like, dang it, they should have had a moment there, because it really is, because like it is, because like if they had the moment that Superman and Lex could have had that honestly, just like the monologue or the dialogue that solidifies that for us on screen, that they, because it could have been like Lex is presenting it to Superman saying, this is your, like, this man will die and I'm going to get answers. And then, Clark saying, no, why you're doing this, Lex, blah, 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 blah. And then he does the second shot and he kills the dude. And then that solidifies to Superman that he's like, of all the people, we will never see eye to eye, or something to that effect. I can see how much better that this would put it at a 10. It would put it at a 10.
Yeah, no, look, his whole aspect, his whole envy is that this alien was sent here, fell here, okay, and the whole world is just fawning, as he says, all over him, right? But it just shows how weak humans are, right? Have him deliver that line and have Superman then push back and say, then why are you sacrificing a human life to prove this point?
Yeah.
Right? Oh, man, James Gunn, reach out to me, dude. I'll help you write the next one out, dude. But yeah, like you could have interjected that in that moment, right? And then I can get bought into his actions and like agree to a point with Lex, but then juxtapose it with Clark or Superman calling him out of like sacrificing the human life for this, right? I think that was my biggest issue, and I think maybe this is, I'll segue into like my overall issue. I don't know if it's an issue, and I'm still processing this. The movie drops you in, right? The movie drops you in. There's wonderful world building here.
Something we've been very vocal on this podcast, on our show, that we love being dropped in because we just are immersed. We're there. We're trying to figure things out.
Yep. But I think it might be to a fault here, because to your point, Danny, like we know Lex Luthor is Superman's greatest enemy and antagonist. But for the casual viewer, they might not know why, right? And I feel like I have the history. Because I'm a nerd and I read comic books and I've read them and I watch Justice League and cartoons and whatnot. The average viewer is not me, right? I feel like the world building might make this movie a bit inaccessible to general audiences, right? I can see someone like, I don't know, like even my wife just being like, who is this flying girl? Who is that guy sitting with balls around him? Like what's going on, right? And maybe even someone like me, and this is more my critical approach of going back to Lex Luthor, of like, what are his motivations? I know what they are because I have 75, almost 100 years worth of history of this character that I know what he's motivated by, but what are his motivations in this movie? I think that's kind of just the issue. Is I love the world building, I love where we're at, but I don't know if it makes for a good standalone movie. It almost feels like it's hinting at the larger world, which is great, but is it hinting too much of it at a flaw, right? Like, I love Mr. Terrific here, but did I need, and I also love like Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, but did we need the entire Justice Gang? I don't think so. I love Jimmy Olsen, but did we need all of the Daily Planet staff? I don't think we did. It's too many characters that I feel take away from what a few could have really impacted and delivered the overall story.
So I don't disagree with you. I thought I was going to. I think early on I did kind of feel it was like, I think it was pretty good. But the more I think about it, here's where I think I land. Is I think that it's not so much that my thing is I do think on the Daily Planet side there is too many characters. I mean, I'm a huge fan of large ensemble casts. Yeah. I think we could have had all the characters the same, but they wouldn't been in like the last sequence, or even they just like had interactions and they're there, but they're not like part of the thing. And we just know that they're tight knit in real life because they had a good time filming this stuff, and that we're going to get some payoffs later down the line. But they didn't have to be so interactive or like, whatever in some of those scenes, because it does take away. Because we could have had, if anything, we could have had for Lois Lane and Jimmy, they could have had more moments that Lois is tasking Jimmy to do some of the stuff while she's trying to track down Clark. Right. Mm-hmm. So that whole thing could have been a little bit tighter, stronger in that aspect. On Superman's end, look, the Justice Gang, I do like the Justice Gang. I actually think I do like Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. And the girl who does Heart Girl. I freaking absolutely love Mr. Terrific, Eddie Gathegi. Phenomenal job. But to me, I think they had like 3 too many scenes. I think they just needed to show up for the big snake monster, have them in the background, and then like less of maybe a tighter scene with Lois in the Justice Gang in the Justice Hall, that we will soon know that that's going to be the Hall of Justice, whatever. Because for me, I do think Mr. Terrific's like him feeling a desire to want to help out and realize that there's something more going on that he's not sure about, while the other two, they're doing superhero, like it's like, I'm not getting paid for that one. Like that's Superman got himself in that mess. I'm not gonna, or something to that effect. I'm not, I don't know what the breakdown is, but also the tone from Gardner, from is just, I think it took me out. I like it, but not in this movie. Does it make sense? It's like, I like the portrayal. I like what's happening. I don't know if I wanted it in this film. And I honestly would have liked a little bit more of like banter between Mr. Terrific, a little bit more to establish that character, so that when we get the team up with Lois and Mr. Terrific, there's something there could have been a little bit extra like moments of just extra dialogue, because it's really action oriented at those moments. They feel slightly empty. Visually, they're cool. Like the Mr. Terrific scene where they're on the beach and they're going to get Superman is great, but it's freaking truly so good. But like the Hall of Justice, Lois is like, aren't you gonna go, trying to get them to come help her? Like that felt a little empty. And I think part of it is, again, because like, like she was talking at them, not to someone. Right. And I think that would have been stronger. Like her deliberately going to Mr. Terrific, listen, hey, I know that you guys are doing this thing, but like, I think you and I can really go help Superman, blah, 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 blah. And like and then the other two kind of like pushing it harder for Lois to bring her point up across would have been a better feel overall. But I will say this, when it comes to the world building, I really appreciate that like the people understand that this is something that is on a regular occurrence. I mean, 3 years have passed since Superman's come in, did a whole bunch of different things. We don't know who those characters are. They could easily like do a callback with a paper, like, whatever, strikes again or whatever. I like that that Superman, when he sees Metamorpho, he like, calls him by his name. He's like, they've had interactions. These are characters that know each other. And I think that that's really strong. So we're not like having to do some weird thing later on. Like, we can know that there's something that's happened. They can just come in and we can have an introduction that's not a first introduction, unless it's meant to be because they need it for the story. Right? And I think that's great. I don't know.
Sure. And I think watching it the second time, right, he knows his name because Lex mentions this is Rex.
That's right.
But I think I love the world building. I really do. I love, again, like people aren't fazed by the fact that there's interdimensional imp, right?
Yes.
Like outside, and their Guy Gardner's hitting him with a bat. Like I love that aspect. It feels very much comic book to me.
Yes.
I think my concern is, and maybe it shouldn't be a concern. Maybe I'm not giving general audiences enough credit. I just haven't talked to someone who is not a comic book reader and has told me, yeah, I love it. I guess that's just what I'm concerned is, what does the general audience feel and say, like, who are all these people? Why this, why is this Green Lantern a little bit different? And maybe I'm the one that's not giving enough credit to general audiences. Maybe they just pick it up.
I will say this: when you see it as just a movie, I think it's a good time. I think kids are absolutely they're enjoying the crap out of this film. They don't care; they just love that there's cool things happening on screen, and every scene, True. Every sequence is fantastic. I can easily see this being a first foray for a Superman for a kid at 7 years old. They're gonna be like, "This was awesome. I love Superman." And then to a marketing, to a perspective, to a company perspective, how many comics are going to be bought for kids for Superman? Or for
oh yeah,
now toys are going to be one thing. I hope, look, this is me as a parent, as a dad, telling to any other parent who's listening right now, don't buy your kids action figures. Buy them the comic books. Buy them Red Sun. Buy them freaking any Superman comic. Go to any freaking graphic novel store. Just buy any big, thick Superman book and give that to your kid with a cape and let them read them as Superman. Like, that is going to be way better than any sort of toy. Sorry, Warner Brothers or what DC, whatever you want to call it. But the truth is that I do think that this is some level like a benefit. I think that some of them may not get it, but they'll look at it. Others will like it enough, but not care. And I think that's going to be like the case. Or nerds like us that we love it and we appreciate it, or those other ones who love it but they don't agree because they wanted something else, right?
Sure.
That's just the landscape of the setup.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I want to talk a little bit about like the tone of this movie.
Oh, sorry, I have one other thing before we go to tone.
Yes.
Ultraman, the fact that he is the clone of Superman, I'm not sure where I'm at with that, because clone of Superman does become Superboy. Well, a version of a clone becomes Superboy.
Bizarro as well.
Bizarro, like, it's always like this thing, but maybe it's good. Like, I haven't fully decided where I'm at. That was a kind of a surprising reveal for me. I don't know if it was for you. Do you like that? I liked the fight at the end. I just don't know if I liked that we started off with that as like the big final. It's sort of. I think that it was done well. I just, I'm like, as a superhero, as a Superman comic book lover, I'm a little like unsure of where I'm at with it. But honestly, it was good. It just, I don't know if you have any thoughts.
Yeah,
I haven't.
I think, well, traditionally Ultraman, right, he's like the leader of the crime syndicate in an alternate universe, right? He's like the alternate counterpart of Superman.
Yeah.
And so, like, whereas here he's a clone. I almost kind of wish they would have just gone with Bizarro. Like,
I kind of do, I
think and I get it. Maybe they just wanted to put a mask on him, right? It is what it is, but I don't think we're done with this character because he got thrown into like that dimensional rift. So maybe maybe he got thrown into an alternate universe, and now over there he's going to create his own crime syndicate. I don't think we're done with it, but I kind of I thought it was fine. I mean, as soon as we got to the Fortress of Solitude and he's like, oh, I have a way of getting in, right? And it opens up. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a clone of Clark, of Superman, like immediately. I don't think it was a big.
I missed that. I was focused on something else apparently, because like I was like, he's a clone, but it's fine. That's just, it happens. Anyways, no, let's talk about the tone.
I think one of the concerns that everyone has had is like, is this going to be too much Marvel's MCU vibes? Is it going to be too funny, too lighthearted? I'm always critical of people who think that a director has only one type of style. No, like a good storyteller can tell different stories in different genres, right? Or in different formats. And I've always felt James Gunn was a good storyteller. And so, however, I do feel that a lot of big emotional moments are not a lot of them. I just have the one issue with the one at the very end with Lex or Superman confronting Lex and Superman telling him like, dude, I'm just an average guy like you. Like I have concerns, I have worries. I take one foot at a time every day. Like he gives this beautiful monologue and Lex is about to again cut in and give us his reasoning as to what he's doing, but then it gets undermined by Crypto coming in and like smashing him to pieces. Like I just let me sit with my emotions. Like you have a Superman who is literally becoming extremely vulnerable with his villain and telling him how he feels and what's motivating him to do what he's doing, and then Lex is about to do the same, give it back to Superman, but then it gets undercut. I think that's just my issue. I think the humor was fine, the comedy was fine. It's interesting. You and I went and saw it together for the first viewing on that early screening. People were laughing a lot on my second screening. People weren't. They were laughing, but I don't think they were as like laughing out loud as much as our screening. Not because I don't think they liked it. I just again, you get a unique crowd like us when you go to those early screenings. You get weirdos like us to those early screenings.
Yeah, we snuck a pizza in.
Yeah, I just think that's kind of like I need James Gunn to allow us to sit with our emotions, and he clearly did this in The Suicide Squad, in Peacemaker.
Yeah.
I think he was maybe a bit hesitant to allow us to like really sync with our emotions in Superman. It's not that he's not capable of it. It's just that maybe he just wanted, I don't know what it was. Like I really think we would have benefited a lot more from having not undermining these emotional beats. And it wasn't a lot of them. It was just that one at the very end, I think.
Honestly, no, I think there are a couple. I think there's a few. They're not like as aggressive. Like I think there's a couple moments like with Guy Gardner, like something happens and then Guy Gardner will chime in, or like there's just. I mean, I think if I don't remember. I mean, I'm gonna watch it again here in a little bit. But the last ending moment, like which is really impactful, does get pretty aggressively sidelined by humor and the situation, right? But I do agree. I think but I think the other side of this is like James Gunn had he had a lot of pressure to try to create something that could be enjoyable to everybody, and having a moment like that was really strong. And I think the other side of this is like when he wrote this film, we could have never. I don't think he could have ever known how much of an impactful theme those two juxtaposed dialogues could have been, with Lex emphasizing his envy, with Superman showcasing that just because he's an immigrant, a person that isn't from this world, that he's just as human as everybody else because he fails and he's trying to figure things out. And that is literally things are happening across our country that emphasize this idea of kindness, of being good to people, to your neighbor. Going back to Lois and Clark's thing at the very beginning, like people were going to die, right? That line of like, that's the only motivator that I needed. People were going to die and I had the ability to stop them. So I did, right? And though like the idea of doing good, being good, trying your best. I truly love this idea that like, we are the people we are because of our choices.
Yeah.
And I think to me, I've always been a individual that believes that. That is a core value that when I was in junior high, I said, I'm going to go to college with trombone. That's how I'm going to get to college. And I made actions every single day that tried to prep me for that moment. Right? There's everybody, if we want, that moment, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be the person who is going to do good, right? Or alternatively, I'm going to be the person that has power. Like not evil, just I want to be the person in power. And what kind of powerful person do I want to be?
Yeah.
That perspective.
I love that you bring that up because I think the movie has these powerful themes about identity, right? About choice and agency. We find out that Jor-El and Lara sent Superman down to Earth to maybe conquer the planet, right? And
we got to talk about that.
We'll talk about that. And so for him he has this this idolized version of his parents.
Yes. Yeah.
because the message tells him, you know, you're gonna do good and be a leader and blah blah blah, right? And so he's idolized this vision of what his parents sent him to Earth for, but in reality, it's something else. And so for him to have that moment with Jonathan, with Pa Kent, and say, you know, your choices, your actions, that's what makes you who you are. And for him to say the fact that you're concerned about the real reason that your parents sent you speaks more than more to your character, that you are doing good, that you are a good man. And so I love that. And I'm surprised that James Gunn didn't dilute that moment with comedy. Um, and just how much more impactful that moment was because he didn't, right?
Yeah.
We could have had that at the end, as Superman is literally stripping away who he is by saying, I am just as human as you,
Yeah.
right? But then to have it kind of undermined with the comedy is a huge loss. Here's the thing, though, and this is, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. I've been a huge proponent of James Gunn, and I still
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
But by being the writer, the director, and the co-president of the company, I don't think there was anyone to tell him, hey man, tone it down or fix this or fix that.
Yeah.
From the sounds of it, it seems like Warner Brothers is letting Peter Safran and James Gunn kind of run DC Studios on their own. Like, we're trusting you guys, go do it. Like, just do your thing, right? And I think that's great, but it's also bad in moments like this where I think a studio note would have benefited to say, hey, let's kind of tone down this comedic element a bit.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't seem like he's going to be directing a lot. But he's going to be doing a lot of writing, and I think that'll be good. Like, I'm excited to see how he's guiding Supergirl, Green Lanterns, right? He's had a story in mind. He's hired writers and directors to go and execute on that vision. So I am excited for the future of the DCU. We'll talk about it in a second, but I think there needs to be maybe I don't know. I'm glad that he did the movie. I am.
Yeah.
I just think there needs to be maybe a little bit of keeping him in check in the future.
Agree. And honestly, I trust I trust him.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I know that he could have had some notes. I think he was, I mean, we give it an 8. I mean, we're nitpicking. I don't know. That's not a nitpick. I do think that he could have had those. He should have had those moments just last night, especially after Guardians 3. But he spent how many years with those characters, understanding this is his first attempt at being able to deliver, being able to see what's there. I think there'll be a lot of learning experience, and I think it's a really strong moment. I think that a lot of people do resonate with that, and so with the moments that he does hit, I think it's the can he connect as he watches it over as the years come by, can he and the team resonate, say we should have held 3 beats longer, right?
Sure. Yeah,
in that area. So anyways, here's a couple of things before we go into where we're at with the future. I know there are a lot of, this is the first foray, this is a world that is in motion, and so there's a lot of openings that are leaving it up to to one Supergirl and to the Green Lanterns TV show. There was Peacemaker was involved with. We had General Flag. We had tons of people that have been, that were brought in for the first time. Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, all that opened there. But I think, and we're going to see what's going to happen. But I wanted to, with Jor-El and his mom and his wife, I was a little bummed that Superman didn't try to go to verify what happened. And that was kind of left alone. It's fine, but and I like where they ended up, but it is a little weird that because he's a strong moment of him, and I don't know if they're going to circle back to that in something or not. And I don't know if it matters necessarily. I don't know. It's a bit weird because we've had most of the time it's really important for him, his family aspect.
Yeah. I was reading a review of some guy, I don't know who it was, but he tore the movie apart over this, how he hated the fact that Jor-El sent him down to conquer. That's not Jor-El, blah blah blah. How can the S symbol represent hope and be blah blah? And it's dude, okay. Again, as some maybe you haven't read, there's different variations of the purpose of why Jor-El sent Clark, right? And most recently in the, which I don't think people are talking enough about, My Adventures of Superman. Dude, on Max.
So good.
It's a great, it's probably the best like Superman out there. It's so good. But that's one of the story elements, right? He finds out that he was sent to Earth to conquer, right? So like it's been adapted. Even Smallville did like 2-3 seasons of this, of him like having to struggle with the fact that maybe he was sent for wrong reasons to Earth, right? I think we will come back to it.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it might be like retcon and be like, oh no, it looks like it really was altered. Mr. Terrific says that the footage was not altered, that's really what it's saying. I don't know. We'll see. But
my thing,
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, my thing is like, no one. How can they decipher this? That was like like the one weird thing that I'm like, do they have like this language is not an Earth language? So how do they decipher this? Oh, anyways, that's all. That's like the only gripe that I have when it comes to like the comic book perspective of like, what? But it is what it is. It's fine.
I hope that they come back to that element, to that storyline. I also would love for like more of Bradley Cooper as Jor-El. Like I think that is great casting.
So good.
And if in the future you're able to like upload his consciousness or whatever, like I would love to see more of that dynamic, because I think Bradley Cooper as Jor-El is fantastic, and I want more of that. Let's talk the future of DCU. Are you excited? So this is, look, we've been talking about this for 2.5 years. The movie's out, it's wrapped, it's released, published. Like you said, we have Green Lantern TV show coming up. We have Supergirl, which is the next movie. Playface begins filming in October. How are you feeling overall with the DCU now that the first cinematic entry came out?
Look, I'm excited. This show, with on the perspective with the Justice Gang one, I love that they went with the Justice Gang. I think it gives us a way for us to grow. Like the fact that they kept going back and forth. That's not what we're called. No, it's what we're called. And then having Metamorpho saying, "No, Justice Gang is awesome," and Guy being like, "Okay, you can be part of the team." Like that's just fun. I love that we're gonna have growth. I love that we're introducing that we're gonna get to this place that we already want to be at. It's exciting. I'm actually really pumped for the Green Lanterns with Aaron Pierre and Stewart. So, anyways, with the two new other Green Lanterns, and I think they're going to be more serious. It's going to be awesome. I love that it's more there, but that means there are going to be 3 lanterns on Earth, or to a degree. I think to some what I don't know what that means. I mean, someone's going to die in Green Lantern. In the Green Lanterns situation. I don't, I would imagine, but I will say I'm interested. I'm intrigued to see how Supergirl is going to be. My guess is probably going to be a little bit more. It could be more comedic, or it could be more serious. Like it could have a more like upper high and a lower low, because she's dealing with, she goes off planet to get drunk and to have these moments, and Crypto being as chaotic as that is, and so I don't know much about Supergirl's runs. Actually, I haven't done a lot of reading for her, and I haven't done the reading of the one that he chose to base her movie off of. And so I'm actually intriguing. I'm probably going to pick it up and read it. I will say I really hope that both Green Lantern and Supergirl maybe have a little bit more greater emotional ports, because we've Peacemaker's funny, Superman coming in has these moments that are really great, but it's just a good time. I think I'm ready. I want to see. I want to get a little bit more serious. Not necessarily like what we've done in the past, but just like serious in an important, emotionally driven, drama driven sort of thing. And I think Green Lantern could do that. Clayface will also probably have that a lot. And I'm really intrigued to see how that's as it develops, and as we get some of the our stuff. I mean, we probably will get a trailer sometime. I mean, maybe early fall, spring of next year
for Supergirl.
No,
for Lantern,
because it's supposed to come out next year for the series, but we don't know when. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out in 2026. You're right. Yeah. Look, I am super excited. I think we're on the right path. Even though I have like some concerns with the world building is there. The world is there. You've introduced your characters. You introduced the concept that metahumans have been around for 300 years. This is just everyday life, and so I love that idea. I'm very excited for Supergirl. And James Gunn most recently said, he talked about the fact that it's going to be very different in tone because of that, right? Like, this is someone, he says, like, she is someone who has witnessed her entire planet destroyed and everyone around her die. And so, like, she is dealing with stuff, and you know, and if they're inspired by the Woman of Tomorrow run, which is a great run, highly recommend it.
You've read it?
Yeah, I have it at home, and I've read it. I've read it twice. It's really good. It's really good. Then yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for some heavy emotional moments here. So I'm excited for Supergirl. Green Lanterns, definitely. I will say, and I said this to you, I've been on the fence, mostly on the side of, you know what, just pull in Robert Pattinson into this world, like, just do it, like, don't confuse audiences with having multiple Batmans. I don't know. After watching Superman, I'm on the side of let him be his own thing, just keep him over there, and then introduce Batman here. I will say though, I don't know that I want an older Batman that has a child.
See, I'm torn on this. I'm like, oh, what is old, right? What age is this older Batman that has a son? We're both. I mean, the son. I mean, Damian could be 12 years old, or 14 years old. That would put him. He would put him like 36 if he had him. If they, you know, it was 20, 22 or whatever. I mean, who knows what the breakdown. That means if he's going to be like, I don't disagree with you because I was like, oh, what is that? Because I will say this. I'm like, if they're going to do Superman and Batman he needs to be a much more seasoned Batman than what we're getting with Superman as our first introduction. Yeah. And we both have big feelings on this. I don't know if I really want that because I want, like, we brought this up with our review on Batman Forever, that like that Batman Robin relationship of that first, Grayson is really good. But I mean, technically, Grayson's going to be part of this world.
Yeah.
Like the Bat family will already be established, and especially with how this movie played out, I could easily see Batman being confronted by Grayson and being like, "What the freak, dude? Get your kid in line. Do I have to put my foot down this time?" Like something there in the Bat family being and take place. But it does make me a little nervous for who they're gonna pick for Batman.
I agree. I do want them to have more of a slightly younger Batman, maybe not old. I don't know. I just want, like, I want a Superman and a Batman that are buddies and friends, right? And less more so of like a father figure Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But no, overall, I'm excited for the DCU. We're on the
Very
right
excited.
track. I think James Gunn delivered well. I mean, I've been saying he has one of the hardest jobs in Hollywood, and I think he delivered. And I'm excited for what's to come. I really am.
This is my last little moment, or my last thought, and then we can share our favorite moment. Even though there were moments in this film that make me wonder what's going to happen next, and that there's some opening things that you're like, okay, well, what are they going to do? It did not feel like a setup film. It felt like a setup film, but not a setup film. Does that make sense? Like, there are moments in this film that had things that make me wonder what are they going to do next? But it was not, the film itself wasn't just like literally just a small part of a bigger thing, which is what Marvel has been doing with almost nearly every single one of their films since Eternals.
Yes.
And I think, to me, that is a huge strength to what James Gunn is doing right now. We will see if he can get stronger with the Supergirl film and with Green Lantern, like if they can lock in those stories. And we feel pretty confident that they're going to do that because the scripts they're not starting until scripts are finished. And that just means they've at least done the word portion, maybe not the timing as we saw in Superman here, where some things could have been left a little bit breathing room to be able to feel a little bit more, even though the feelings are there. And so I'm really intrigued to see how a Fantastic Four will play out next week, because it feels like a pretty emotional film. But I don't know if I'm going to just feel like, oh, well, I guess this is just like another like
set up for something else.
Yeah, what's it called? What, like a preface to the next little thing that we're missing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll go from there.
That's a good point. And I think I said in my review, it felt like there's a lot of things that it was setting up. Maybe it's not setups. It's the fact that the world is already established. It feels like there's more story to tell, right? They're not necessarily being like, oh, look who it is. he's gonna come back for the next movie, or look who the big bad guy is. Like,
yes,
right? It's not setting up like that. It's the fact that you have a Justice Society, you have a Maxwell Lord in the world, you have all these in different characters that already exist that we're eventually going to get to. It's not necessarily Maxwell saying like, oh, that's Superman, I got to recruit him to be part of my Justice gang, right? It's not, none of that. It's just characters are established that can lead to more stories in this cinematic world. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The story is contained. The post-credit scene isn't hinting at anything bigger or greater. It's just this, it's a self-contained story with elements to expand to other stuff. So yeah, good point, good call out. Favorite scene, I think for me, it's between just it's a two like Lois Lane and Superman scenes. Either her interviewing him or when he's coming back into his apartment through the window and she's there and they have this beautiful moment of like, what did you mean? Like when you said you knew this wouldn't work out. Like I love just those smaller scale intimate moments of two individuals like tearing down the walls that they have. And it only causes them to just rely on each other, love for one another. I know maybe that's a weird thing to say for a Superman movie. Like of all the fighting, no, those really were my favorite moments because it just showed so much character arc in there, and I think that's so crucial for a Superman movie to like bring him down to again humanize him. It's one of those two. It's both of those. Those two scenes are just my favorite. I love them.
I cannot agree with more. I actually think if on for a Superman film, my favorite scene is actually the apartment scene. I mean, one, it's just I love that we just get a slice of life of Superman. He's not, he was looking for crypto. He was looking for a freaking dog, right? He comes back. He's feeling the weight of people hating him because he's trying to do what I mean. I would probably do. I would try to consume myself with doing some other project and not think about the thing that I just found out, right? Yeah. That my parents might have sent me to not do the thing that I thought he wanted me to do. That's my core, like part of my core identity. Like he was, that moment. And then him confronting the woman he loves and trying to get clarity. Like he's still trying, he's still being human. I just absolutely love that scene. And I love that it's so comic book. It is, DC has always done amazingly well in the comics book of depicting these human moments on panels in a world that's magical. Yes. Things are happening and Superman or Batman or Green Lantern or whatever are saying and asking questions that are so deep. The writers that write these comics, you sit there and you're reading through these pages and you're like, this is amazing. And then you hit something like that. Like, what did you mean that this was never going to work out? Who has not asked something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just freaking fantastic.
I love that. There's this clip going around on threads of some YouTuber criticizing that scene because he's like it's distracted because James Gunn is just wanting to be too funny. There's a bat hitting the imp in the back. There's all of this stuff happening and it's too distracting. He's like, honestly, I don't even remember what that whole moment was. I'm sure it was a beautiful moment. I can't remember it because he is trying to be too funny with what's happening in the background. And it's like, no, dude, you missed what the story was. That the point was that in a world of chaos, Lois and Clark have each other to keep them again grounded, to rely on one another. That although Superman may feel the weight of the world, in this case, having to find crypto or finding out that his parents sent him for the wrong reasons, or that people hate him, or whatever that may be, he has Lois to go to help him, and that Lois can help always steer Superman in the right direction in whatever he may be facing. And so I saw that clip and I'm like, no, wait, no, you missed the point of that. Like, yeah, it's chaos, it's goofy in the background, but like they need each other to move forward, to be grounded and work as a team together.
I think it's actually a cinematic choice.
Of course.
I mean, the creature in the back is lighting up this like bright, crazy thing that's happening, and yet the reality, I know, it's just beautiful. I will say, when I look at this as a comic book film, my favorite moment is Mr. Terrific just kicking butt.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that free, and I'm not, look, I don't want to hate on Superman, but he kind of steals that moment, like, because Superman has pretty awesome moments, but I mean, Superman's awesome. He's laser beaming his eye. Like, I love that we get all of Superman in this film.
Yeah.
Ice breath, heat vision. He's being healed by the sun. He is freaking battling really strong people and still trying to like it's great. But the Mr. Terrific moment really just is awesome. And I think part of it's just because like he's a cool character. And I love that we're introduced to him in this way in a film of a character that is really still really powerful, really strong, but we're seeing him in his growth moment. And I think that's just really powerful again. Anyways, oh man, I think we could. I'm glad we were able to see this film early. I'm glad that we were able to get a review out to everybody. So we hope you enjoyed this film. Like we said, both given. I wanted to follow up with you on after watching it a second time. Is your review still stand 8.8? What'd you say? 8 out of 10?
I think I gave it an 8.5. Yeah, I think I'm still there. 8.5. I'll stick to that.
That's where I'm at right now. We'll see. I'm going to watch it a second time, but really great stuff. So subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. It really does help us get discovered.
And as always, we want to hear from you. What did you think of Superman? Did it live up to your hype or to the overall hype that everyone has for it? You can connect with us through our newsletter at realchums.com/newsletter. And you can also connect with us on social. You can find me on Threads at Markstrosity. It's MARZTROSITY.
And me at Rubio.tv.
Join us next week as we take on a month of natural disaster movies as we kick it off with Armageddon. Oh boy, I have not seen this movie in probably like 20 years.
It's a Michael Bay film.
It's a Michael Bay film, and I am excited to revisit this in nearly 2 decades.
Oh, it's been a minute. We did postpone our Women Get Revenge film because we want to find a couple people that can film with us. So we're going to do it in September so we can film it and do it justice with a female perspective. So get your disaster hats ready, and we'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you.